Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Craig Stammen's postgame comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
And he swings, hits it in the air a mile, deep to left field. Antonacci at the wall. He watches. This one gonna go. Manny Machado with his 5th of the year, 2nd of the inning for the Padres, and they go ahead for the first time today. It's 2-1.
Manny Machado hits one of 2 home runs for the Padres on this Sunday afternoon as the Padres find a run in the bottom half of the 8th inning to go ahead, and they beat the White Sox in this series finale at Petco Park by a final score of 4-3. Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building as we wrap this one up. Padres improved to 20-13. White Sox dropped to 16-18. The Padres snap a 4-game skid. They avoid a sweep at the hands of the White Sox here today, and the Padres getting a run on a little check swing infield single off the bat of Xander Bogaerts in the bottom of the 8th inning. RBI hit makes it a 4-3 Padre lead, and the Padres go on to win by that final score. They'll take it. They needed a win here today, and they got it. A lot of good things in this game. Home run by Miguel Andujar to tie the game at 1 in the 4th inning. Moments later, Manny Machado, a solo home run to put the Padres ahead 2-1. Padres would lead 3-1 after 4. White Sox did tie it up, a big 2-run home run in the 7th inning against Adrian Morejon by pinch hitter Derek Hill. But again, the Padres getting the run they needed in the bottom of the 8th inning to take the 4-3 lead. Griffin Canning, also a very solid Padre debut. 5 innings, 1 earned run given up. He struck out 7, gets a no decision today, but very, very nice Padre debut for right-hander Griffin Canning. I caught up with Manny Machado on the field moments ago.
Manny, this team trailing 1-0 heading into that bottom half of the 4th inning. Second time you were facing the left-hander Anthony Kay. How was the offense able to get to Kay the second time around?
Yeah, just trying to be aggressive. He was pounding strikes. He was throwing a lot of strikes, and we're a little passive early on, and then in that situation, Miggy started off the inning with a homer. So just trying to be aggressive and use our big bats in situations like that.
Speaking of Miguel Andujar, what has he provided to this group early on?
He's been great, man. He's been a spark to our lineup. Obviously makes our lineup deeper, and having in there, he's a threat. Both ways. He can hit. He can hit for power. He can hit for average. He can do everything. He's a great hitter. So having him with us, I think it's big part of our team.
Griffin Canning making his Padres debut today, first game in the major leagues for him in nearly a year. What did you see today from Griffin?
It was awesome, man. It was great playing behind him, throwing strikes. I know I've been in that situation coming back from an injury. It's always that those jitters. He got it over with in that first inning, and then he settled in and threw the ball really nice for us. And he's a big part of our group this year, and it's gonna be fun to play behind him.
Finally, I know it wasn't the week you wanted as a team heading into today's game, but how significant was it to pick up a win heading onto the road?
Yeah, for sure. It's a big one. It was a big one for us. It hasn't been going our way. We've been taking good at bats, but just things don't flow our way. So, to get this one out the way and start this road trip off on the right foot, I think it's big for us.
Manny, great job today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That was Manny Machado moments after today's 4-3 win. The Padres snapping a 4-game losing skid, and a nice flight up to San Francisco now. Happy flight after a win to snap this 4-game skid. They'll play 3 games Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in San Francisco, and the Padres win it against the White Sox here today 4-3. As always, our post-game coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, need a little me time? Jamul Spa was just named one of the top 100 spas in America. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. When we come back, we recap this game from start to finish. We have all the radio highlights for you. We'll go back downstairs, hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Much more to do. Padres win it on this Sunday 4-3 in this series finale against the White Sox. Our postgame coverage continues after this. Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Final score here today, Padres 4 and the White Sox 3 as the Padres snap a 4-game skid. They take the series finale and salvage the final game of this 3-game set against the White Sox. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll hear from Craig Stammen coming up in a little bit. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard a little bit later. Get into our daily awards. If you want to get a phone call in, you can do that as always at 833-288-0973. Let's recap how it went down on this Sunday here in downtown San Diego.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Griffin Canning took the mound for the Padres in the top of the first inning, making his season and Padres debut. Canning walked 2 in the inning, but he got out of it thanks to some bad base running. White Sox had a guy thrown out at the plate to end the inning. That was on a ball that barely left the infield. Sam Antonacci was trying to score from second base, and he was thrown out at home. Canning went back out, a much cleaner 1-2-3 top of the second. In the bottom half, Ty France hit a 2-out single against White Sox starter Anthony Kay. Nick Castellanos then doubled into the left field corner. France was thrown out at home plate trying to score. An aggressive send from Padres third base coach Bob Henley. Good relay by the White Sox. So 2 innings in, both teams had a guy thrown out at home plate. So we went to the top of the third. Still a scoreless affair. White Sox catcher Drew Romo led off.
Romo switch hitter, batting left-handed, rips the first one in the air down the right field line. That one gonna go a line drive home run into the Petco porch. Drew Romo's third hit of the season, all of them home runs. And the White Sox lead it 1-0 here in the third.
It stayed 1-0 as we went to the bottom half of the fourth inning. Miguel Andujar led off for the Pods.
Now the 1-2 pitch. And that's it in the air, deep to left field. Antonacci's going back. He's turning to watch. This one gonna go. Second of the year for Miguel Andujar. And a game-tying shot here in the fourth inning. It's 1-1.
Couple batters later, it was Manny Machado.
Manny swings, hits it in the air a mile, deep to left field. Antonacci at the wall. He watches. This one gonna go. Manny Machado with his 5th of the year, 2nd of the inning for the Padres, and they go ahead for the first time today. It's 2-1.
Padres weren't done. Xander Bogaerts and Ty France at a pair of singles. They were on second and third base. It was Freddie Fermin at the plate.
France at second, Bogaerts at third. The 3-2 is up and away, goes to the backstop. Here comes Bogaerts from third. He will score. And on the wild pitch the Padres add on, it's 3-1.
Padres putting together a 3-run, 4-hit fourth inning. They led it 3-1 through 4. Griffin Canning finished 5 solid innings today by striking out the side in the top of the 5th inning. Canning allowed just 1 run in those 5 innings. He struck out 7 in his Padres debut, 73 pitches. Really nice job by Griffin Canning today. Padres still led 3-1 going to the 6th inning. Adrian Morejon came on. He struck out the side. At that point, the Padres had struck out 7 consecutive White Sox hitters. Padres still led 3-1 going to the 7th inning. Morejon stayed on for his 2nd inning of work. He allowed a leadoff single to chase Mydroth with the left-handed hitting Jared Kelnick coming up. The White Sox elected to pinch hit with the right-handed hitting Derek Hill.
Hill swings, sends it in the air to left center and deep. Merrill's back, so is Laureano. This one gonna go into the bullpen. A 2-run pinch hit homer for Hill, and this game is tied 3-3.
So a big pinch hit home run for Derek Hill. Like Jesse said, we were tied at 3. Morejon would get through that inning with the game still tied at 3. Tyler Davis pitched a 1-2-3 bottom of the 7th inning out of the White Sox bullpen. Jason Adam came on out of the Padres bullpen in the 8th inning. He pitched a scoreless inning. So we still had a 3-3 game going to the bottom half of the 8th. The Padres rallied. They put runners on 2nd and 3rd with 1 out, but then White Sox lefty Ryan Hudson struck out Manny Machado. He then got 2 strikes on Xander Bogaerts.
2-2. Here it is. Xander, kind of a half-swing grounder to the left of the mound. Hudson doesn't have a play. Montgomery picks it up. It'll be an infield hit and an RBI for Xander as Laureano comes in to score the go-ahead run. Kind of a half-swing, excuse me, oopsie will get the job done, and the Padres lead it 4-3.
It'll be a line drive in the box score tomorrow. RBI infield single for Xander Bogaerts gave the Padres a 4-3 lead. Bogaerts stole second base, put runners on second and third, but Ty France grounded out to end the inning. So the Padres had a slim 4-3 lead heading to the top of the ninth inning, and guess who was coming in? Right-hander Mason Miller. Miller struck out Chase Meidroth to begin the inning. Edgar Caro struck out for out number 2. Tristan Peters then hit a single to put the tying run on base. He stole second base. So the Padres leading 4-3. The tying run at second base, Luis Angel Acuna at the plate representing the go-ahead run.
Miller will deliver. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. Got him to chase a slider in the other batter's box. And Mason Miller with 3 strikeouts in the ninth inning as the Padres end the homestand on a high. They end the mini 4-game skid here, pick up their 20th win of the season. And Xander Bogaerts' check swing infield hit in the bottom of the 8th. The difference here this afternoon as the Padres beat the White Sox 4-3.
Now, the Padres could use some good fortune coming in on a 4-game losing skid, and they get it with that little check swing go-ahead RBI single for the X-Man in the 8th inning. Padres will take it, and they'll take this win up to San Francisco to begin a 3-game series there tomorrow. Final score here today, Padres 4 and the White Sox 3. Padres improve to 20-13 on the season. White Sox drop to 16-18. Winning pitcher today, Jason Adam, who pitched the scoreless 8th inning, and Mason Miller picks up his 11th save of the season. He's a perfect 11 for 11 in save opportunities, also lowers his season ERA to 1.10. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen. Again, the Padres win it in this series finale today 4-3. Our postgame coverage from Petco Park continues after these words. Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Final score here today, Padres 4 and the White Sox 3. Padres trailed 1-0 early in this game, tied the game in the fourth inning on a Miguel Andujar home run. Andujar's second as a Padres, second of this season, and so the Padres then taking the lead on Manny Machado's fifth home run of the season. That made it 2-1. They would get one more run in that fourth inning to take a 3-1 lead. White Sox did respond in the top of the seventh inning. Derek Hill, a pinch hit two-run homer against Adrian Morejon to make it 3-3, but the Padres scratching across a run on a little check swing infield RBI single for Xander Bogaerts in the bottom half of the eighth inning, and to ultimately go on to win this game by that final score of 4-3. Jason Adam, really nice day out of the bullpen, scoreless eighth inning. Mason Miller, a scoreless inning, now 11 for 11 in save opportunities. Griffin Canning, very, very solid in his Padres debut. 5 innings, 1 run given up, 7 strikeouts, walked 3, gave up a home run, but that was all the scoring he allowed today. Threw 73 pitches, 42 for strikes, and you know what? Today, coming in, 4-game losing streak, trying to avoid a sweep at the hands of a White Sox team that is much improved this season, but hey, has not been very good last handful of years. Padres did not want to get swept today, and they found a way to pick up a win, and they now head on the road for a 3-game series against the Giants tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday, before actually coming right back home to take on the Cardinals in a 4-game series beginning on Thursday. With all that in mind, let's go downstairs and hear from the Padres skipper, Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres Stammen, served up by Sin Lee Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
How did you see that 8th inning unfold with the way you guys were able to push one across?
Yeah, leadoff walks, we've been talking about it, hurting us, and this time it helped us. So we get a leadoff walk, and then the guys put some good at-bats together against pretty tough pitchers on a good run right now. And we were talking about the swinging bunt that Vargas hit the inning before and how we never get any of those. And then we got one of them in the next inning. Xander kind of check swings one, and we score a run.
What did you see from Griffin Canning in his first outing as a Padre and then coming back from the injury?
Yeah, I thought it was great. More than we expected probably. The way he dominated the last 4 innings. First inning, to be expected, a little bit of nerves. Haven't been out there for a while. Probably a lot of thoughts going through his brain of, the last time he was out on a big league mound. And he got through it, and then he kind of cruised the last 4, finished striking out the side, I think, in the 5th inning.
There's obviously quite a reaction after the great hit by Xander. It's only May,
Smoked it.
It's only May, but how good did it feel to get this one? Things have not been going your way, in addition to maybe not playing the best.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you're on a little bit of a losing streak where you've lost a few in a row and just doesn't seem like we're playing that good of baseball and things aren't quite going our way, it just feels good to finally squeeze one across. And, we worked hard today to get that done. It didn't come easy. We didn't play, amazing baseball. We didn't take amazing at-bats. We didn't, but we hung in there and we figured out a way to score one more than them.
How much has Miguel Andujar helped you? He's probably been your most consistent player. Do you wish you could play him more? Are you glad you don't have to find another guy to get in there?
Yeah, I think, it's comforting to have a guy like him when we're facing left-handed pitching. You feel really good with him at the plate in that scenario, and we're really starting to feel really good with him against right-handed pitching too. The way he's hit the ball this season thus far, the at-bats that he's taken, we feel pretty confident when he's in the box.
Did you really say we don't get hits like that before the swinging bunt that you got?
I believe Ryan Goings was the one that said that. And then I looked at him when Xander was up and I said, here's where we're going to get one. So can't say that I'm Nostradamus, but, so sometimes it works out in our favor. I think it was more of a wish than a prediction. Yeah. Pretty safe guys, right? If you've got a guy on our team that can hit that type of hit, he's the one.
If you're going to get this version of Canning or something like it going forward, what could that mean for the state of your rotation going forward?
Yeah, huge. I think is what we expected when we signed him, is that he had the potential to be, someone that we could rely on and count on and get quality starts, consistently through the season. So this is one start for him. He's coming off a major injury. There's bound to be hiccups, but he's off to a good start, and we feel very confident about him going forward.
Craig, about 2 weeks ago, you talk about being the leadoff hitter for the Padres, and since then, he's been kind of a slump. I don't know if you have any thoughts about it. Basically, you said guy that wasn't the leadoff hitter spot then gets a slump, and that's what happened with Laureano?
Well, I think, if you wait long enough, yes, somebody will always go in a slump. And I think when we first put him in there, we liked the at-bats. And even today, he gets the extra at-bat. He leads off that inning in the 8th and works a walk. Whether that was the pitcher being super erratic, but again, he's facing a really good hitter, and he's got to make pitches. And that puts a pitcher in a bind. And when he's in the batter's box, we feel really good about him. The at-bats he's taking, the focus and the discipline that he takes to every single at-bat. It's just a good attitude for our team.
It was a kind of difficult homestand for you guys against Chicago here in San Diego. Finishing off with a win before going to Oracle Park in San Francisco, what does it mean for you?
Yeah, I think anytime you finish a homestand with a win, it's a good feeling. We've come accustomed to playing really well here at Petco Park. Our last homestand, we played really, really, really well. We had a really long road trip. That's, probably a lot physically taxing. Mentally taxing. We came back. We played really good against the Cubs the first game and then lost a couple close ones. And then, didn't play our best against the White Sox the first 2 days, but came out and, salvaged one today. So just speaks to the toughness of our team. We're a pretty tough team, pretty mentally tough. I like how these guys get after it every day. They're not giving in. They're not making excuses. And, it shows today to, stop a losing streak in its tracks.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 4-3 win against the Chicago White Sox. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue our post-game coverage. Look, I'm right there with Craig. Wasn't the best game the Padres have played. It's not like offensively they, were tearing the cover off the ball outside the 2 home runs for Andujar and Machado. Canning was really good, and we'll talk more about Griffin, but I thought that was very, very encouraging today, what you saw in his Padres debut, especially the strikeout total, 7 Ks through 5 innings today for Griffin Canning. Padres had some missed opportunities in this game, but look, they found a way to scratch across the run in the 8th inning when they needed it. And I'll say 2 things about that. Number 1, look, this was the kind of game today where the Padres just had to find a way to win, which is something they've been very, very good at the early part of this season. They just had to find a way to win because bottom line, look, I don't care that the White Sox are playing really well. They came in on a 5-game win streak. They came in winners of 10 out of their last 14 games. We talked all weekend about how much better this White Sox team looks than the White Sox teams of years past. 100%. That's true. But you still didn't want to get swept today by this White Sox team and head on the road in the midst of a 5-game losing streak and losing 6 out of 7. And all of a sudden, a lot of the good that you did the first month of the season is starting to, I don't want to say unravel, but you're undoing it kind of quickly when you lose 5 in a row and 6 out of 7. So Padres, they got a win against what coming into today was a sub-500 team. Had to find a way to win today's game. Not a must win by any means, but I'm just saying, really felt like a game the Padres, they wanted to have today. Take a good feeling on the road, and bottom line, they found a way to do it. Also, the 8th inning, the ability to just get one, it illustrates when you do have Mason Miller looming in the 9th inning, if you can just find a way to give him a run, you feel very, very confident about that guy coming in and shutting the door, and that's what he did. He did give up a base hit and a stolen base as the White Sox got the tying run into scoring position, but Mason Miller ultimately does his job. 11 for 11 now in save opportunities, and by the way, did strike out 3 batters in that 9th inning as well. Well, step aside. When we come back, we'll talk more about Griffin Canning, what he did today, get into our daily awards. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up in a little bit as well. If you want to get a phone call in, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call. If you want to get involved on social media, you can do that as well at Sammy Lev on X, SAMMYLEV. Instagram DMs open, Sammy Lev there too. And you can also, as always, comment on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Final score here today, Padres 4, White Sox 3. Post-game coverage continues after this from Petco Park. Padres win it on this Sunday. Final score, Padres 4 and the White Sox 3 as the Padres snap a 4-game skid. They take the series finale against the White Sox. It was not a great week for the Padres in this all-Chicago homestand. They do lose 2 out of 3 to the Cubs, and they do lose 2 out of 3 to the White Sox. However, they did book in the homestand, a win on Monday, a win on Sunday, and you know what? Considering how it went for a lot of this homestand, I think you'll take it. Padres go 2-4 on the homestand, but hey, pick up their 20th win of the season here today. They improved to 20-13, and now the Padres hit the road for the start of a 3-game series tomorrow in San Francisco. We'll talk more about tomorrow's pitching matchup in San Francisco. Tell you what the Giants have been doing coming up in just a little bit. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming your way as well. We'll also touch on Griffin Canning in a second. But first, let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Relief pitcher of the game today, we'll give it to, how about Jason Adam, who did a really good job in this game. Adam putting together a scoreless top of the 8th inning that kept the game tied at 3, allowed the Padres to be in a good position to take the lead with that little check swing RBI single, infield single for Xander Bogaerts in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Good job by Adam. Only hit he gave up was an infield single with 2 outs, but faced 4 batters, got 3 of them out, only gave up that little infield single. So for that reason, and picking up his first win of the season, as well as he improves to 1-0, we'll give relief pitcher of the game to Jason Adam. Mason Miller, good inning for him, 11 for 11 now in save opportunities. Certainly want to mention him as well. Struck out 3 in that 9th inning. Adrian Morhone, unfortunately today, had another rough moment, gave up the 2-run game-tying home run to the right-handed pinch hitter Derek Hill in the 7th inning. That tied the game at 3, and the sort of up and down nature of Adrian's season continues. You know, I don't want to go overboard here. I mean, he certainly had some stretches where he's looked like the Adrian of 2025, but I will say this, we just didn't see a lot of what we saw today. And look, he also did strike out the side in his first inning of work in the 6th inning. I do want to mention that. It was an up-down, went back out for the 7th inning. But just think about it. In 2025, how often did we see Adrian have what happened to him in the 7th today, a single and then a pinch hit home run? I mean, we just didn't see it. He was so dominant. So look, I guess the way to put it would be he just has not been as dominant as he was last year. I think that's pretty fair to say. Early part of the season, ZRA has ballooned up to 6 in 15 appearances. Now, keep in mind, a lot of that comes from that outing in Pittsburgh where he gave up 4 earned runs on 5 hits in a third of an inning. So that sort of ballooned his ERA for what's going to be a while here. But it's certainly been a little bit more up and down for Adrian than what it was last year. Not that he hasn't had some really good stretches and appearances. He has, and he's looked like the 2025 version of Morahone, certainly in a lot of these appearances. But, quite simply, we just didn't see a lot of that last year where, he came in with a 2-run lead last year and you kind of knew what you were getting. You were getting a 0 on the scoreboard or multiple zeros on the scoreboard, and the Padres were asking him to get 6 outs today. The first inning, he struck out the side. He looked great, then comes back out for the 7th, and it was single home run. He had a tie game at 3. So, again, relief pitcher of the game, Jason Adam. A little bit of a struggle today for Morahone in that 2nd inning of work, and Mason Miller goes 11 for 11 now in save opportunities. Before we talk more about the offense, I do want to touch on Griffin Canning. Really good today. And look, the numbers themselves, 5 innings, 1 run, 3 hits, really good. He battled through what were, I don't know what he's going to call him after the game, jitters, but he just didn't have the command in the first inning, which To be honest with you, for a guy that's making his season debut that hasn't pitched in a major league game since last summer, first start since tearing his Achilles last summer that ended his season, it's fully understandable that he would come out today and have some command issues. He walked 2 in the first inning. He got a little bit of help in that first inning by what I thought was just a bad base running play by Sam Antonacci, the White Sox leadoff man. He gets thrown out at home plate, so that certainly helped a little bit for Griffin Canning today. But to his credit, after that first inning, he really settled in. 1, 2, 3 second, even after he gave up the home run in the third, settled in, retired the next 3. Leadoff walk in the fourth inning, ends up getting out of it, including, and I haven't mentioned this yet, but including a great pickoff move and picking off Jared Kelenic at first base in that fourth inning in a situation where it was runners at the corners and 1 out. That made it a runner at third base and 2 outs, and then he struck out Peters to end the inning. So that was great by Canning. That was a great move, and then he ends his outing by striking out the side. He struck out 7 in those 5 innings. Got a lot of swing and miss today. He had a 53% whiff rate. A lot of swing and miss today. So that was good to see. You want to see swing and miss. He averaged nearly 95 miles per hour with that fastball. His changeup was the pitch he threw a lot of. We know he has that good changeup. That was effective today. So very promising outing for Griffin Canning, considering all the circumstances, trying to, I'm sure, knock off some rust. His return to the major leagues after a very serious injury was really good today from Griffin Canning. That was hopefully a sign of things to come. Let's talk a little bit more about the offense as we tell you about the heart of the Padres order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the heart of the order. Presented by Palomar Health, the official healthcare provider of 97.3 The Fan. Palomar Health, leading with heart for every patient. Palomar Health is reimagining healthcare.
Part of the order here today, we take a look at the 3, 4, 5 spots in the Padres lineup. It was Merrill, Machado, and Bogaerts. Tell you what, really productive day for the 3, 4, 5 spots. 5 hits between those 3 guys, 2 runs scored, a home run, the one from Manny, and the 2 RBIs, and both of them were go-ahead RBIs. Manny, the home run, made it 2-1. Xander, hey, there'll be a line drive in the box score tomorrow. He'll tell people it's a line drive. Little check swing roller RBI single to put the Padres ahead 4-3 in the 8th inning. So a couple of go-ahead RBIs, 5 hits in total for Merrill, Manny, and the X-Man Xander Bogaerts, the 3, 4, 5 spots. Of course, Miguel Andujar had another big swing, the home run to tie the game in the 4th inning, tied at 1, his second home run of the season. And we'll hear from Miguel Andujar coming up on this road trip. He continues to be really, really, really good. And you heard Craig Stammen allude to it. When they signed him, the idea was that this is a guy who can hit lefties. And you knew he would play for the most part against lefties. But they're even getting more comfortable at giving him at-bats against righties. And bottom line, Andujar has been really good. He's hitting .316 in 79 at-bats. 843 OPS, 2 home runs, 6 doubles, a triple, now 9 RBIs. Miguel Andujar has been really productive. And, I'll tell you what, we had the same conversation about Ty France, a handful of days ago. And I'll say it with Andujar. When you're producing at this kind of level, it's going to be very hard for the Padres to keep him out of the lineup, certainly against lefties. And who knows, even against righties as well. So he's been great. He's been a big contributor. We heard Manny talk about it a little bit earlier. So he's been very, very good and certainly played a big role in this 4-3 Padres win on this Sunday afternoon. When we come back, we'll preview the upcoming series against the San Francisco Giants. We will also have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard as the Padres win it 4-3 as they salvage the finale of this 3-game series against the White Sox. Our post-game coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Jamul Casino Resort. Padres postgame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you here on this late Sunday afternoon at Petco Park. Good to have you with us as we continue to wrap this one up. Padres win it 4-3 against the Chicago White Sox. We'll hear our play of the game coming up in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. We'll revisit my postgame conversation with Manny Machado. If you missed that, as always, our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey, player, the rooftop pool's open, day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. We have one game going on right now, the Sunday night baseball game. Rangers and Tigers in Detroit. They're in the second in Detroit, scoreless there. Other games, everything else has gone final. Twins beat the Blue Jays 4-3 in Minnesota today. Yankees beat the Orioles 11-3 in New York. The Pirates beat the Reds 1-0 in Pittsburgh. Astros beat the Red Sox in 10, 3-1. Nationals beat the Brewers 3-2 in D.C. Phillies beat the Marlins 7-2 in Miami. The Rays beat the Giants 2-1 in Tampa Bay, the final in 10 there. They walked it off on the Giants. We'll talk more about them in a second. Dodgers beat the Cardinals 4-1 in St. Louis to snap a 4-game skid for the Dodgers. Cubs beat the Diamondbacks 8-4 in Chicago. Braves beat the Rockies in Colorado 11-6. The A's beat the Guardians 7-1 in Sacramento. The Mets beat the Angels 5-1 in Anaheim. And finally, Royals beat the Mariners 4-1 in Seattle. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday afternoon. Speaking of the San Francisco Giants, they will go limping back to San Francisco because they get swept in Tampa Bay. They also got swept in Philadelphia, so it was an 0-6 road trip for the Giants. They now sit at 13-21. They will enter tomorrow's game in that 3-game series against the Padres in the midst of a 6-game losing skid. Yikes. So we'll see if the Giants, how they look as they come home to Oracle Park, and the Padres will meet them there for a series opener tomorrow. We'll preview tomorrow's pitching matchup in just a moment. Final score here today at Petco Park: Padres 4 and the White Sox 3. We had a 3-3 game in the bottom half of the 8th inning. The Padres were threatening, runners on second and third with 2 outs. Xander Bogaerts at the plate, the go-ahead run 90 feet away from scoring. There were 2 strikes from Xander, and that set the scene for today's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
2-2. Here it is. Xander, kind of a half-swing grounder to the left of the mound. Hudson doesn't have a play. Montgomery picks it up. It'll be an infield hit and an RBI for Xander as Laureano comes in to score the go-ahead run. Kind of a half-swing, excuse me, oopsie will get the job done, and the Padres lead it 4-3.
Xander Bogaerts with that little check swing roller, good enough as the Padres take the lead on that RBI infield single, makes it a 4-3 game. And so they go on to win by that final score, snapping this 4-game losing skid. So that's today's play of the game. Nothing fancy from the X-Man, but hey, sometimes you just got to find a way to get it done, get that run in from third base, and that's exactly what Xander Bogaerts did. Manny Machado, 2 hits in this game, including his 5th home run of the season. I caught up with Manny on the field right after today's win.
Manny, this team trailing 1-0 heading into that bottom half of the 4th inning. Second time you were facing the left-hander Anthony Kay. How was the offense able to get to Kay the second time around?
Yeah, just trying to be aggressive. He was pounding strikes. He was throwing a lot of strikes, and we're a little passive early on, and then in that situation, Miggy started off the inning with a homer. So just trying to be aggressive and use our big bats in situations like that.
Speaking of Miguel Andujar, what has he provided to this group early on?
He's been great, man. He's been a spark to our lineup. You know, obviously makes our lineup deeper, and you know, having in there, he's a threat. You know, both ways. He can hit. He can hit for power. He can hit for average. He can do everything. You know, he's a great hitter. So you know, having him with us, I think it's you know, big part of our team.
Griffin Canning making his Padres debut today, first game in the major leagues for him in nearly a year. What did you see today from Griffin?
It was awesome, man. It was great playing behind him, throwing strikes. You know, I know I've been in that situation coming back from an injury. It's always that those jitters. He got it over with in that first inning, and then he settled in and threw the ball really nice for us. And you know, he's a big part of our group this year, and it's gonna be fun to play behind him.
Finally, I know it wasn't the week you wanted as a team heading into today's game, but how significant was it to pick up a win heading onto the road?
Yeah, for sure. It's a big one. It was a big one for us. It hasn't really been going our way. You know, we've been taking good at bats, but just things don't flow our way. So, you know, to get this one out the way and start this road trip off on the right foot, I think it's big for us.
Manny, great job today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
That was Padres third baseman Manny Machado. Right after today's win, the Padres improved to 20-13 with the victory. White Sox dropped to 16-18. So what's next for the Padres? Well, they'll hit the road for a very quick 3-game road trip, all 3 games in San Francisco against the Giants, who, as we said, will come in on a 6-game losing skid as they return home. First pitch tomorrow at 6:45 p.m. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 5:45. Right-hander Trevor McDonald on the mound for the Giants tomorrow. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres. Again, first pitch tomorrow at Oracle Park in San Francisco at 6:45, and our pregame coverage will begin at 5:45. As always, if you missed any portion of our postgame coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. And of course, today was a Military Sunday, brought to you by our San Diego County Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Taking a look at the final totals here today for the Padres. 4 runs, 9 hits, no errors. They left on 5. For the White Sox, 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors. They left on 5 as well. Winning pitcher today, Jason Adam, who improves to 1-0. Losing pitcher was Tyler Davis, who drops to 0-1. And the save goes to Mason Miller, who picks up his 11th save of this season. Time of game, 2 hours and 34 minutes in the crowd at Petco Park. Another terrific homestand as far as the attendance. 15th sellout of the season in this building on this Sunday afternoon. Crowd here today in downtown San Diego, 40,171. Once again, first pitch tomorrow in San Francisco at 6:45. Our pregame coverage begins at 5:45. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Kyle Ovenshire, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from Petco Park. In the final score here today, the San Diego Padres 4 and the Chicago White Sox 3. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your Sunday.